been playing Glaive hasn't been the most consistent. So I don't know what they would want to pick here in this situation.
Skedaddle can really ruin a lot of this, plan that Cyclone kind of needs to put into play anyway.
Not only that, we typically expect a weapon Kestrel, but with the Vox pickup, it could very well be a Crystal Kestrel. And I think that's an even bigger mistake going into
team composition as they dead and dominated game on with Scoundrel. Cyclone, they've drafted a bit more range into their composition, but can it deal with it?
They got a better early game, that's for sure. CP Kestrel level 1, very strong. And you can see Fnatic not looking to push the boundaries this time, knowing that a Lance and CP Kestrel together early on can be devastating. But they're kind of playing an awkward game composition, in my opinion. You kind of want to peel for the Vox, but realistically with the CP Kestrel, you're playing a ranged game against a ranged composition from Fnatic, so it's all going to be about who can actually land their poke better. And then if Cyclone can land their poke, which obviously CP Kestrel could be devastating if she does, you're then playing around the Lance and the Vox to try and find those burst kills. Like Sweej was saying, Radhar's going to do the work from ranged, and then it will be up to Bastion and Voldemar to be able to single out targets and actually find the kills. And it was also a good ranged siege composition with the CP Kestrel as well. So I actually think Fnatic won't be able to play the same level of game plan they did last time. They'll have to play it a little bit slower, which I think favors the Cyclone roster, because obviously CP Kestrel, you give her time to scale up, she becomes a bit of a monster.
Certainly does. Bastion, I think, is the big talking point on the Cyclone roster right now. Cyclone, they kind of worked out what was the huge, the winning formula. Radhar in the jungle, get PT Lamb into that roaming position. But at the moment, with PT Lamb not able to play this week, they have to bring in Bastion for it. And it's a bit of concern for them. Are they able to have the same results with Bastion that they've been able to with PT Lamb in the previous weeks? Well, Bastion, he's on his lands. He definitely favored it when he was playing for Denial. So, for Cyclone, a bit of a more stronger composition, definitely a composition that can deal with Fnatic, and without Fnatic getting that huge spike of gold at the beginning of the game, well, things are certainly on even footing.
Amatoro doing some good work here, though. I want to sort of touch on that Bastion point that you mentioned there. He is a very strong Lance player. I think out of all of the heroes that I've seen him play across his career, definitely been very impressed with his Lance. Taking a lot of punishment here now. The Fnatic range is really starting to come into play. I do worry that Fnatic, apart from maybe Palmatoro, they don't have too many ways specifically to deal with a Kestrel at a very long range. That's the only thing I'm worried about, potentially. Yes, obviously Gwen can bring her out of her stealth. That is a given, but that's from Buckshot, which is Buckshot range. If you can keep, as you would on Radhar, especially as you scale up, consistently moving around your active camo, making the Gwen guess where to throw the Buckshot, it might be difficult for them to actually be able to focus down Radhar. I would like to see NetTwilight potentially pick up a contraption here, because obviously one of the major weaknesses of a CP Kestrel is scout traps and flares and all that kind of stuff. Anything that can keep her revealed and stop her from finding flank positions is a very, very strong way of approaching a CP Kestrel game. So I think NetTwilight, maybe after a fountain, you might see a contraption come out.
Yeah, certainly a viable situation. We've actually seen it a lot in Challenger Series at Scoundrel. People opting for Contraption second item purely just for the cooldown reduction as well that comes from it. So, especially on a healer like Lyra, getting that Imperial Sigil off cooldown can certainly be good. But here comes Cyclone looking for perhaps an engage. No, they're going to get disengaged immediately by Fnatic. NetTwilight just speeds on out of there like Flash. Now, for Cyclone, a chance to clear the wave. A bit of damage onto Techno JJ as well. Actually going to force him to use his boots quite early on.
Yeah, well, that's what a CP Kestrel will do when she is kind of unchecked. She will appear next to you. She'll slam massive hitting glimmer shots into you. And it's just so much damage in the early game. This is exactly what Cyclone needed to contest with Fnatic. And actually, like I said, I don't know, especially at this point in the game, how easy it will be for Fnatic to actually deal with this Kestrel. She can probably sit there spamming glimmer shots from range for a large portion of this game and feel fairly untouched. And especially when she gets her Void Battery on board, she'll give that energy regeneration over to herself. She'll be able to be even more consistent in terms of how much damage she can put out in these kind of situations. I am slightly worried for Fnatic, but then I'm also worried for Cyclone, right? To actually win the game, you either rely on Radhar to do all the work for you, or Bastion and Voldemar have to start to find an aggressive position at some point. Obviously, one of the best combos in the game is landing an Impale and then just spamming Glimmer shots on that impaled target. So We'll have to see whether Bashin and Voldemort actually find these kinds of team fights and these kinds of positions that they want. Because right now it's kind of Radha versus Fnatic. He's doing most of the work. You can see Voldemort and Bashin really struggling because they do have that big range disadvantage versus what Fnatic are bringing to the table.
Yeah, no, Bashin hasn't been able to go back and shop yet, so he's not near that point where Fountain comes online for Cyclone, and so much sustain is there for Fnatic to continue this siege. Radha will come up level 6 to try and put down a bit of poke, try and get someone. Might go for his ultimate, but there it is. Will not connect, unfortunately, onto NetTolet.
There were plenty of viable builds on every weapon power carry. I think actually things have become a lot more situational, and people have varied their builds quite frequently. I mean, obviously Gwen has got this tension bow build, but you can still build her that classic Sorrow Blade, Breaking Point, whatever else you'd like to after that build. Ringo has been seeing a lot of variation as well. We've seen huge amounts of variation on the likes of the weapon power carries that are melee as well, you know, like Blackfeather and Glaive. So I think there's a lot of sort of overall variety for weapon power carries right now. But you're right, Vox definitely is the most varied. I mean, he's got plenty of options, and it looks like Voldemort is working towards a poison shift potentially.
Yeah, very possible. There's a great engage. That's going to be a lot of damage put onto Palmatoro. He takes that, wait for it to the face, silences him right up. Oblivion will come out. It's going to catch Radha. Not the best target for Cyclone to be losing early on, but they're going to lose Bashin through the fountain. First blood goes Fnatic's way into Palmatoro's hands. And Cyclone, well, they're forced to fall back for now. Radha trying to lay down the damage. There's so much range available to Fnatic to throw it straight on back. It's a bit of a ballet trying to dodge out these skill shots. Currently, Fnatic just going to rotate down. Or not, they're going to actually pressure the wave here. Very interesting move from them.
Well, I think this is kind of what we saw Fnatic do last time. They took a small advantage, and now they're going to use their siege. They've got the Frostburn on Palmatoro, so obviously if he starts to slow somebody, they're going to take a lot of damage. And Radha being low on energy might be a good time for Fnatic to start putting pressure down. You can see they are trying to put a lot of work into Radha here, who has now finished his Shatterglass, by the way. An interesting note, often you'll see CP Kestrels build up a lot of crystal bits before actually investing in a tier 3 item. Radha felt pretty comfortable to go straight for that Shatterglass without having to invest in a huge amount of low sort of gold, I guess, investment crystal bits. So he's hit a pretty big spike early on here, and I'll probably head towards a Void Battery and they'll work towards either another Shatterglass, like we see some EU pros do, or he'll move towards something a little bit more conventional, maybe like a Broken Myth. We'll have to see.
Well, that's that Poison Shiv coming through for Waldemar. Like you mentioned, Excoundrel, and that's going to cut down the healing. And NetTolet can dish out if Waldemar can apply the Mortal Wounds to the entire roster of Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm a bit sort of in line with where Suijay was with this, by the way, as we have to be careful because it looks like they are trying to catch up Kestrel, but she will just get out of the way. It was a good scout trap, locking up that stealth. We've got a fight, total fight here, though.
Yeah, this is a 2 versus 3, but it looks like Cyclone have the damage. Here's a one-shot from behind. Palmatoro can't hide. And that's going to be the first kill. Techno JJ's running straight towards Radha. A second for Radha. And Waldemar looking for the third. But NetTolet, he has his passage available. A 2 for none goes Cyclone's way. And actually what seemed like an impossible fight for Cyclone to make work, based on how split they were, well, it actually played out in their advantage.
Perfect time to use your charms, and they didn't. Perfect time, Dalsy. That's
disappointed.
That's a misplay. That's a misplay. But I think actually that was great from. I'd say Fnatic went a little bit too hard on trying to single out the Kestrel. They didn't manage to land that over-the-wall ace, which I think would have been very difficult to land regardless, right? I think that was a big risk to take. And then they walked straight in to where they knew Bashin and Voldemar were. And you walk and you disrespect a Lance's ability to land a very easy single vector impale. I mean, I bet Suijay is shaking his head right now, because the one thing you hear Suijay say about Lance is never fight him in corridors, because he will decimate you. And he decimated Fnatic right there. And it was a perfect flank position for Radha as well. You know, the one-shot, one-kill came out, picked off Palmatoro. And then what does Kestrel love more than firing glimmer shots down, you know, like a singular corridor, just like Lance likes it? It was a perfect situation for Cyclone to turn things around, and they did an incredible job at capitalizing on it.
They're going to look for more, as that's a huge impale onto NetTolet. He gets silenced on up, and there's no way to escape. One shot connecting onto Palmatoro as Bashin's just trying to put the pressure down. But without their healer here, Cyclone going to feel very comfortable that Fnatic can't really do much to stop them from taking this gold miner.
This is my worry, I think, for the Fnatic lineup. When I saw it going to the Kestrel, I was saying, well, how do you actually kill the Kestrel? It's not like you've got something like a glaive, or it's not like he's got something like a black feather that can stick to her. You actually have to get through a lance and a Vox, who will be an annoying presence as well, to actually start to then kill the Kestrel. How do you actually do that? And with a double squishy composition, Radha has made the right decision and has gone for 2 Shatterglasses, which will be massive damage against Fnatic. You really only tend to see 2 Shatterglasses come out when there is 2 targets that will just blow up. And Lyra isn't exactly tanky in her own right either, despite obviously having the tanky items there with the health. But this was what I was worried about. And they're gifting Cyclone these fights because they're allowing Bastion to get great impales. They're fighting next to walls. And obviously then they're just sort of allowing this Kestrel from the backline to do nothing. Just, you know, spam these glimmer shots, spam the one-shot, one kills, and they can't actually touch her.
It's very interesting, Scoundrel. You know, Cyclone, they go, well, okay, you had a very strong composition, but we know how to play against this one. They pick some picks. The Kestrel, of course, and the Lance, and, well, it's seemingly working for now. It's a small gold lead, 3,000 at this 11-minute mark. But we may see it increase if another fight goes Cyclone's way. Everyone in the mid area here, that's going to be the Impale blocked up by Techno JJ Skedaddle.
So it is going to be the contraption coming out second for Net Twilight. It is what we expected, Dal, so we talked about that at the start of the game. And now it's going to be up to Net Toilette to be able to spam scout traps, keep tabs on Cyclone's Radha, and if they can, land any kind of CC or damage onto her. That's going to be Voldemort going frontline, my word.
Wow, Voldemort takes huge damage. Techno JJ trying to secure the kill. Oblivion will connect onto Bastion as he pops the fountain to keep himself alive, and he does keep himself alive. What great play from Bastion. Knew he was going to get put to sleep, but he did not care. Cyclone stay alive for now, but they have to defend this turret against 3 as Bastion has been forced back to base. Fnatic, they're getting ready for another siege here. Waldemar diving away from these Malice and Verdicts. Radha not quite having the same fate. Fnatic, they're going to heal up. Bastion says, it's my turn. Sub on out, guys. That's going to be the flare going out. Fnatic know that this turret is only occupied by Bastion right now. They're going to try and hard push this wave. They're going to try and take it on down, and take it on down they will. One shot will connect onto Techno JJ. The Impale! Whoa! Coming out of this Kestrel. Double Shatter Glass doesn't work. And that's going to be Cyclone finding one for themselves. Another route straight onto Nettolet. Up against the wall. Radha trying to find the damage, but he cannot quite get onto Nettolet there. That's going to be them trading a turret for Techno JJ's life.
That is the double shatter glass, and why you go double shatter glass into a double squishy composition. Techno JJ has now said, I think I need some shielding, because that was, I think, close to 900 damage almost coming out from that one shot, one kill right there. Ah, perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. Almost one-shotting a carry with just one ability. That's the power of CP Kestrel. Looks like we could potentially be seeing a clockwork coming out for Radha. So if you're going to be building a clockwork, obviously you want to be able to make the most use out of that 25% increase in CP passive. And what's the best way to make use of that is by spamming the highest CP item in the game, which is that Shatterglass. There is no penetration being thought of right now for Radha, not thinking about a broken myth or anything like that. Just saying my flat damage is working right now. They haven't really invested in defense. And Net Toilette, I mean, look at this. I mean, really, even against the tankiest member of Fnatic, Radha is doing work.
But he's about to get himself a clockwork soon as well, so he can spam these skill shots even more. The shielding, well, it's kind of exists for Fnatic, but not in a level 2 sense. So Radha feeling fairly comfortable that he can go clockwork before even a broken myth is required. There's the infusion coming forward. Waldemar has a little bit left on his own, but Fnatic, they're struggling right now here at Scoundrel. They cannot get on top of this Kestrel. Like you mentioned, it seems to be their downfall in these team fights.
And the problem is when you build a contraption against a CP Kestrel and you're behind, if you can't keep map control of where you're putting your scout traps down, there's almost no point having them. Because if you're just going to allow their lance to waltz over a scout trap and take it off the map, it's very difficult for you to be able to then catch a Kestrel out, because all of your scout traps are just getting cleared because you've got no way of punishing the enemy team when they walk in and take them away. So again, Fnatic, they had a definitely a more level early composition against this Cyclone roster. Cyclone knew that the CP Kestrel would probably play quite well into it, and I've got to say, Bastion's had a great game of finding the right impales, setting up great team fights too. This is another situation where I think Fnatic need to be careful. One shot.
Oh my gosh, what was that? Damage onto Techno. Wait for it, flies out. Silences on up 2. That's going to be this Kestrel looking for the execute. Can't quite find it, but the Kraken, she's spawned. We do see an Atlas Pauldron coming forward for NetTolet, which says to me that Fnatic are going to look for an engage with an Arcane Passage some point, try and slow down the attack speed on Waldemar. They are coming forward, but there's active camo and a double stun does come forward. It looks like Fnatic aren't done. They want to try and catch out this Kestrel, and they're going to take Radha very low. They've taken him on down, but they trade NetTolet. Oblivion doesn't block up Bastion, and Waldemar's able to do the work. A triple kill, and the Kraken happy feet come out of Waldemar, and Cyclone, they are pulling ahead.
Oh my word, Waldemar, they had to spend so many resources to take out Radha, who got a great early start to the team fight with that active camo burst. And if you leave a Vox with a breaking point untouched, and when he gets those breaking point stacks working, he will decimate you. Even with this burst build coming up from Techno JJ, Waldemar had so much damage, and again was untouched for the entire time that the team was focusing Radha. And then he was just able to clean up those squishy targets who, again, you know, we talked about them investing to shielding. They have invested in no armor, almost. It's only NetTolet with the armor, and he's basically relying on getting an Atlas Pauldron on to stop Waldemar's damage output. The rest of the members, both Palmator and Techno JJ, have had no time or money to invest in armor. In fact, they've had no need, because realistically, for the most part, Waldemar hasn't really been doing anything. And it looks like Cyclone are going in.
Yeah, they're looking for the fight here, Scoundrel, trying to get that Kraken onto the turrets, and it's going to take down one as we speak. This is Cyclone going back in. Waldemar dives straight on top, does lose his life. Perhaps a little bit too aggressive, but they're just buying time for the Kraken to do her work. Radha going to fire those Glimmer shots, try and take down Palmotoro, but the Malice and Verdicts, they are stacking up. One shot will not connect onto Techno JJ, tries to snipe him off the staircase, and that Kraken, well, it actually took down one turret, but Cyclone in total got 3, as Radha, Bastion, and Waldemar were able to charge down, take down 2 before the Kraken even entered the base.
And now they're going to have to start putting vision in their own base for the fear of potentially Radha going in with those Glimmer shots, getting some damage down and trying to backdoor that Vein Crystal. This is a really tough situation for Fnatic right now. Definitely think Cyclone knew how to approach the way that Fnatic drafted. I definitely think that we talked about the issues they were going to have, and look at these scout traps. You can see that they are just trying to bring Cyclone into their territory where they have that vision advantage. And I think that's what Fnatic have to do. But the problem is that if you're Cyclone, aren't you just going to wait until Kraken respawns? You're just going to say, we don't need to fight you, we don't need to take risks. If we just get Kraken, we can push with Kraken and probably win the game regardless. So, unfortunately, the pressure is on Fnatic to make the move. But if Fnatic make the move, they move out of that area of bliss, which is that big area that they've got covered by scout traps. And you move into that central area where they have no vision, where Radha is going to have a field day with his active camos and a field day with positioning. So it's tough for Fnatic right now, Dalsy, really tough.
Yeah, extremely, and that's going to be NetTolet in the active camo. Gets bursted down to half HP, just one Glimmer shot, one active camo trap, and that's going to be a one-shot, not quite finding its target from Radha. A bit adventurous, but hey, he's got Clockwork. It's a 20-second cooldown. He can throw it out again very shortly. Glimmer shots fire out, NetTolet goes down even lower, and Cyclone, they're just trying to do the pre-work on this team fight onto Fnatic's roster, waiting for this Kraken to spawn, and here she is. Back onto the Halcyon Foldic Scoundrel, and this is do or die for Fnatic.
Again, you know, they have to go out of their comfort zone right now. You could see they are trying to creep their vision up. Oh, Techno JJ out of position, potentially.
Waldemar's trying to find the kill, but Waldemar gets taken on down. It's a 1 for none, as Techno JJ going to go straight out of the fight. Bastion trying to find the target, but he cannot. Bastion, he will not lose his life just yet, I do not believe. As Fnatic, they're trying to chase down this Kestrel, but they cannot find her. And currently, NetTolet laying down vision does make things difficult. Fnatic, I feel like they need to take this Kraken. They need to make an attempt. But even if they do, there's chances for this Kestrel to steal it.
Where was that one-shot, one-kill going? Maybe trying to snipe anyone at the shop if they were low, but that was maybe the theory there for Radha. They're going to back off. They might actually just have to let this go. It'll be a stray Glimmer shot that will win this. Maybe Bastion and Radha can do this, because Lance is a great into these kind of situations. He kind of lets the Kraken do the work for him. Fnatic have to be very careful. It doesn't look like they've got the tankiness to be able to do this. And now Voldemar is back up. This is great for Cyclone. Fnatic have to back off.
Yeah, Netalet, look how low he is. Gonna be able to heal himself up at least. But it does mean that this Kraken is disengaged. The one shot onto Palmatora, he's going to be feeling the hurt. The pain train, even through an Aegis there, Scoundrel, able to do that much damage onto the Samuel. And look, Cyclone, they just immediately start up the Kraken. Fnatic, they're pulled straight back into the pit of doom on the Halcyon fold, and currently Cyclone just going to take this one away. They're going to try and steal it. Fnatic, and they are able to steal it. It's stolen for Fnatic, but now the fight going to break out. Waldemar going low. He's inside that Oblivion, putting Bastion to sleep, and he loses his life. Fnatic, this could be the turnaround that they needed to get back into this game.
Oh, that was devastating for Cyclone. Oh, it's really a 50-50 in those situations, Dalsy, when you have, you know, two teams fighting over Kraken and it's very, very low HP. It is a 50-50 situation who can actually get the snipe out. One shot, one kill is often used to secure Kraken, but I think it had been used previously, so it wasn't available. And now Cyclone are in a really tough spot. They're having to defend a massive, massive active camo. Oh, it forces out the fountain already. That's a great start for Cyclone here. They're going in though.
They've jumped straight into an active camo, and they're going to lose their lives for it. Scoundrel, what a mistake. That's going to be Techno JJ falling. Netalet, he's going to get chased down, but he's able to find a kill. A triple for Waldemar. Screw the Kraken, Scoundrel. Let's go finish the game.
Oh, they're going to run straight down the lane, straight to the Vein Crystal, and Cyclone will level up this series. It was a good idea, but like you said, it was an arcane passage right into an active camo set up by Radha. Gotta say, Cyclone, they had some blunders in teamfights. They definitely could have secured this a little bit more easily, but the win is all that counts, Dalsy. They're going to level up this series, and Fnatic, they might have to go back to the drawing board. They might have to think about their bans. They might even have to think about their composition, because Cyclone had it covered, and they did an incredible job. Radha, even at just 3-2-5, I felt he was so hugely influential this game. And I did really think that Fnatic were going to struggle to deal with the CP Kestrel. There isn't anyone to pressure her, so she has free reign of positioning. And you either have to jump in through that portal straight onto the CP Kestrel, or you don't. And that's very